we're gonna do Siddhasana. We'll wait for Coley to come back since I sprang this stuff on last minute.
I am back. My screen looks like it's frozen, I think, but I'm back.
Yeah, it looks empty, but okay, so I know you're there. All right, so Siddhasana. It doesn't matter which ankle or which heel comes first, but lining up the heels the best you can. If this isn't accessible, that's fine. Just do regular Sukhasana or crossed legs, easy pose. But this just starts to kind of explore the meditation seated postures that we do. It opens up the hips a little bit more. So let's just start here with the palms facing up. Get tall in the spine. And begin to connect to your breath. Physically connect to your mat. Commit to trying your best for the next hour to, whatever is happened before class or happening after, just to let those things be. And just to let yourself have this next hour. So BKS Iyengar, who is or was one of my favorite teachers that I was able to study in his lineage, the father of alignment yoga, and why this class exists. One of his quotes that I really love, it is through the alignment of the body that I discovered alignment of my mind. So through these physical postures that we do tonight, and as we slow them down and really focus on some intricate parts of the support with the props, we'll be able to kind of explore the more subtle parts of the body and the mind. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then blink the eyes open if they're not open already. We're gonna start with a saddle twist with a side stretch. So bring both feet pointing to the left. This is just like my favorite stretch the last couple of weeks. Right fingertips will be behind you, and then left hand to the right knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come into your twist so you can start to push this left hip forward, push the right shoulder back. We're going to take a couple of breaths here and then add that side stretch. So the next exhale, you're going to just soften the left hip down a little bit and then take the right arm up and lean to the left. So you're not going to be able to get down as far as you normally would if you weren't in a twist. But just open up the right side of the body, breathe into the side ribs. And then exhale, bring the right hand down, come back to center, and then carefully bring the knees up, switching to the other side. So left fingertips behind you, right hand to the left knee, push the right hip up, coming into your twist, left shoulder back. Find your breath here, lift the sternum or the chest, spread the collarbones. And then exhale, soften the right hip down so you can bring the left arm up. Exhale to the right. Breathe into the left side of the body. Still holding on to the knee with the right hand. Take one more breath here. and then release. Bring the knees back to center. We're gonna bring the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana and do A and B, so 2 forward folds here. Grab the ankles, bring the heels closer to the sitting bones. Shoulders up and back. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. This first one, we're just exhaling and hinging forward. Might only go a few inches, it's okay. As you soften, you know, the inner adductors or muscles are not warmed up yet, so don't push it too far. Just keep the shoulders back. See if you can maybe peel the feet open a little bit more. Next, inhale, come all the way up. Lengthen, lengthen, exhale, come back down, round the back, drop the head. Take one more breath here. And then inhale, come all the way up. Bring the knees up. We are going to straighten the legs and extend them out for our Upavista Konasana. So grab your strap here. We're going to focus on one leg at a time. You know, it's not necessary that you have the strap, but if your hamstrings are still tight, then go ahead and grab it. Lengthen. Exhale, come to the right leg. Grab onto your straps, and we're not going to come down very far. We're going to inhale and lengthen one more time. And then exhale, just soften towards the right leg. Keep the feet flexed. The left sitting bone is going to come up, and that's okay. Still keep the leg, both legs engaged. We'll try to keep the arms straight, but not to compromise the integrity of the pose. We don't want to bring the shoulders forward. So still squeezing that orange between the shoulder blades. Take one more breath. And then inhale, come up. Come to center. You can take it off of your right foot and get ready for the left, but we're going to do the middle first. So as you exhale, hinge forward. In order to come forward, you need to press the knees back. You might not go very far, but if you can go further, go further. Keep your fingertips to the center. Feet are flexed. That helps press the hamstrings into the ground. And keep the femurs grounded in the hip sockets. Inhale, come up. Exhale. Grab your strap, take it to the left. So my body doesn't move as easily to the left side, so my right sitting bone is a little bit higher here. We're just gonna do our best. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. I'm more flexible in this hamstring, but not as flexible in this hip. So it's just learning those intricacies, you know, with just neutral awareness, without judgment. That's what we're looking for. Both quadriceps should still be nice and flexed. Take one more breath here. And then inhale, come up. Release the strap, bring it off to the side. We're gonna bring the knees in and then just come to a seated Sukhasana with your hands. Actually, let's do it with our knees bent. So knees bent, we're gonna do our cat pose here. So hands are gonna be just on the knees, and then exhale, arch the back, drop the head. Inhale, you might need to lift the toes to help you bring the chest forward. Exhale, arch the back. Inhale, come up. Exhale, arch. We'll do one more round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, arch. And then come back to center. We're gonna come to hands and knees, but grab your strap first. I'm gonna give you some instructions for what we're gonna do with that strap. So have a loop in your strap so that it fits shoulder width or maybe a little bit wider if your shoulders are tight. I think all three of you are probably good with just the shoulder width. We don't want it too close because that's gonna get in the way. And then of course you're gonna have to keep your arms, your shoulders engaged to keep the strap lifted. So right above the elbows is where we're gonna need it. Come to hands and knees. Pressing the roots of the fingers. You can stay on your knees or come to full plank, but we're gonna take 3 breaths in each posture, okay? Be sure your wrists are lined up with the front of the mat. So extend the legs, come to plank for 3 breaths. Navel to spine, nice long neck. Next exhalation, we're coming down to chaturanga. Elbows right behind us. We're not gonna go very far here. 3 breaths. We're going into upward facing dog, so uncurl the toes, upward facing dog. So what the strap is doing is stopping us from dipping the shoulders before we go to up dog. 1 more breath. Curl the toes under, come into downward facing dog. Let the strap fall a little bit if you need to fit your head. And we're gonna take 3 breaths here. You can have movement for these down dogs. We are gonna take a down dog with some stillness, so if you wanna move your legs for these few rounds, go ahead and do that. We're gonna keep the hands in the same exact place, and we're gonna go through that one more time. So remember, you can go to knees first. So exhale, shift forward plank, adjust the toes, the legs. Engage the lower belly, lower to chaturanga. So shoot forward a little bit, bend the elbows. I feel like the strap is supporting me, even though this is a difficult one. Uncurl the toes, upward facing dog, straight arms, look up. Curl the toes under, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. All right, we're gonna do it one more time. I wanna come watch you guys. So shift forward to plank. Hi, Jessie. Lower chaturanga. Good, elbows kissing the sides of the body. Shoulders away from the ears. And then upward facing dog. Good. Curl the toes under, take your hips up and back. I can't wait to unmute you guys at the end and get your opinion about this one. All right, so we're gonna drop to our knees, come in a child's pose. So widen the knees, bring the big toes together. And grab the heels or bring the palms together and let the palms rest behind the head. Rest the arms for a few moments. We're gonna take 5 good breaths here. And even as you're here, find your alignment of the breath. Imagine it going equally up and down the back lungs, along the spine. Feel the pressure on your legs, and maybe you're heavier on one side than the other. You'll take one more breath here, and then bring the palms back to the mat. And start to lift the head. Come to your knees, and then you're just gonna grab your blocks. If you have 2 blocks, grab them. If you don't have 2 blocks, I'm gonna give you another option. So the blocks are gonna help if we have the tight hamstrings for our heels to touch the ground while we spend some time in downward facing dog. If you don't have the 2 blocks, or maybe you'd prefer to just use this blanket, this is gonna go under the heels and take up any space you have so you can straighten your legs, okay? So you can even do both if you'd like. So once you have that set up, kind of see, give you guys another couple seconds here. And the blocks are just gonna be, they're gonna be vertical so our palms can be on them. They're gonna be shoulder width apart, just like our hands would be. And then go ahead and place your palms on the blocks or on the floor. Curl the toes under, hips up and back. And then maybe your heels are on the blanket. And that way you can get straight legs and curl the buttocks up towards the ceiling. So heels are still gonna be heavy. We're gonna take 10 breaths here. So I'm gonna just use the blankets. And if you hate the blocks, you can move those off to the side too. So keep the arms the way that we were, with the strap, that kind of movement with the arms, shoulder width apart. So downward facing dog is definitely a spine lengthener, but sometimes we use it in our practice for the back of the legs. It's like a secondary purpose for this Adho Mukha Svanasana. And remember, you can come out of it at any time. So straight arms, drop the ears to the inner arms. Sitting bones are lifting up. Good. Let's go ahead and take 2 more breaths here. So lift your head, look at the front of your mat, and just begin to walk towards the front of your mat. We're gonna exhale and fold. Bend the knees here as much as you need to. Drop the head completely. Press all 4 corners of both feet, and very slowly, with a flat back, strong legs, bring the arms all the way up. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Good. We're gonna use that strap again. So bring the arms down. Grab the strap. It's already in the right spot for your arms. And if you don't have the strap, don't worry about it. All right. So I'm gonna face you guys so you can see me. We're gonna do Tadasana legs. So inner edges of the feet parallel. The strap is gonna be right above the elbows. Actually, bring it to the forearms this time. Okay. And we want the palms facing up, okay? So we have no choice. Our arms are not gonna move here as we bring the arms up. So go ahead and start to bring the arms up. Without rotating the arms, we're gonna see what our range of motion is. So your arms are overhead. Take a few breaths here. You'll notice that you have to have the shoulder sockets grounded in order to keep this strap from falling. We're gonna come into chair pose here. So take a deep breath in. Exhale, shift all the way to the back of the body and sit in that chair that's far away. Keep the arms up. This is where the arms stay. Try to keep them to the biceps to ears. Take one more breath. We're gonna exhale, come forward. Keep the strap on the arms. And here you can also use the block. So we're gonna come into chair one more time with the strap. And then we're gonna let it go and see if our arms will remember what they're supposed to do. Drop the sitting bones. Bring the arms back up. Find your breath here. Plant the feet into the ground. Keep the knees close together for stabilization. Drop the tailbone. Engage the lower belly. One more breath. Exhale, fold. And now we're gonna ditch the strap. So put it off to the side. Take a breath or two here. Maybe straighten one leg, straighten the other leg. Just kind of move the legs around. And then one last time, drop the sitting bones, shift the weight to the heels, the back of the body. Bring the arms up and see what they do. Take 3 breaths here. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back, come down to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Walk the feet forward, looking up. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees if you need to. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Okay, so stay where you are for just a minute. Before we move on to the next thing, I just want to show you the reason we were doing that strapping with the chaturanga and the plank. Okay, so a lot of us have a tendency to, chaturanga down and do this, maybe a scoop thing, or bring the shoulders down first, which will certainly be damaging to the shoulders. So this is just a way to kind of control it. Okay? Now, sometimes if we're evenly lowering the body in our chaturanga, certainly okay to be right here as long as the shoulders are not dipping. Okay? All right. My teacher always said to ask why, so I like to explain why we're doing things. All right, grab your 2 blocks. We're gonna move on to the next thing. I'm gonna place them on the right side of the mat. And then we're gonna bring right foot, 90-degree angle, and then the back foot is gonna be pointing up towards the left side of the mat. So you have one foot on either side of the mat, like that. Parshvottanasana. Grab your elbows behind the back. If you get far enough down to grab the blocks, you're gonna grab the blocks. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. If you feel like you can reach the blocks, bring the hands down to the blocks. The reason we're using the blocks is to kind of pay attention to the pelvis. So first, keep the shoulders away from the ears. Okay. And now be sure that your left hip is dropping down a little bit. So we have a tendency to lift it up. We want to drop it down. Deepen the right hip. So we're pulling the right hip back and the left hip forward. It makes the stretch in the right leg much more special. If you feel like you can go further here, then bring your blocks to the next level. We'll take a few breaths here. Shift the weight to the back leg, and then do all of the shifting all over again. Pull the right hip back, the left hip forward. Be sure the front foot is not lifting anywhere. Still going to squeeze that orange between the shoulder blades. And eventually we come all the way down and drop the head. But for now, I want to focus on the pelvis. Take one more breath here. Bend the knee. Grab one of your blocks and come up. We're going to come into half moon from here, okay? So left arm can just be behind the back for now. We're going to bend the right knee and take this block and just reach, put it off of the mat. We're going to start to slide the left foot forward. Don't straighten the standing leg. If you feel like you can lift your left leg, go ahead and lift it. And the toes are going to be pointing straight out. So we're opening the hip here. If you're feeling good about this pose, you can bring the left arm up, stack the shoulders. But staying here is just the same. See if you can take a couple breaths. Right toes are still pointing straight at the block. If you feel like you can go lower, lower the block. And then bend the standing knee and bring the left toes quietly back down. Nice. That's a good one. Okay, let's take our blocks to the other side. Left toes pointing 90 degrees. Actually, they'll be straight forward, to be honest, sorry. And then right toes up at like a 60-degree angle. Grab the elbows behind your back. So even before we start to fold forward, notice what your pelvis is doing. Deepen the left side, bring the right side forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, keep the shoulders back, shoulders back. Bring the hands down to the blocks. And just play with this for a little bit. So notice where your feet are. Shift the weight to the back foot. My right hip definitely lifted. So I have to deepen the left groin and drop the right hip. Stay here for a couple of breaths. We're actually lengthening the hamstrings from the belly of the muscle. When you take the time to breathe, it doesn't tear the ends, the fibrous ends of the muscle. It gets to the belly. Take another breath. See if maybe you can lower the blocks. If not, that's okay. Readjust. Maybe notice what direction your knees are going in. Are they lined up with the toes and the ankle? Next exhalation, we're going to bend the knee and pick up our block. Go ahead and start to shift the weight forward, bring the block off the mat, and then start to shift the right foot forward. You know, maybe your leg never even gets off the ground, and that's okay. You feel good here, go ahead and lift, open up the hips. Maybe bring the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. And eventually you can look up at the right hand as well. Take one more breath. Bend the knee. Bring that right foot back down and come back to a standing position. Shake the legs out a little bit. If your ankle was wobbling like crazy, then that's your ankle doing its job, getting stronger. So did a great job there. Put one of your blocks in the center of the mat and then grab your strap. We're gonna keep that off to the side too. Doing a lot of straps today. Come to Prasarita Padottanasana, so wide leg stance for our forward fold. Toes are pointing forward like a lot, where it feels like you might be pigeon-toed. And also be sure that the back of the heels are lined up as well. Hands to hips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, the only thing that's moving is the hip sockets. They're moving back. Your spine isn't moving anything at all. Holding forward by hinging. Bring your hand to the block. We're gonna take a minute on the block. Even if you can go all the way down. Lift the sitting bones, engage the quadriceps. Shoulders away from the ears. Maybe next exhale, you can go a little bit further. Spine is still long, just like from the beginning. Long neck. One more time, see if you can flatten the block or just go all the way down. Drop the head. If your hands are touching, start to walk them back towards the inner edges of the feet. And then again, lift the sitting bones, engage the quadriceps. I'm gonna stay right here. Press the outer ankle to the inner ankle, so be sure your ankles are not rolling out either. We're gonna take one more breath here and then come into a twist. So left hand is gonna come right below the face, whether it's on the block or on the floor, and then right fingertips are gonna come up. 2 breaths here. And then exhale, right hand down, left fingertips up. 2 breaths here. Exhale, bring it down. Lift the heels and bring the heels in, coming into goddess legs here. Bring the hands on top of the thighs. We're gonna do a little bit of side stretching here. Keep the knees over the ankles, okay? Right hand is gonna be on top of the thigh. Left arm up and over. Just with the breath, moving here. Nice and slow, and if you have to keep a focus point on the ground, go ahead and do that. Last one here. Hands to the thighs, press up. Bring the feet back together. Come to Tadasana at the front of your mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, up. Alexis, you're hilarious. Take it back, downward facing dog. Totally fine too, because you know what? It's actually your practice. Inhale, look up. Get to the front of your mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms all the way up. Back to Tadasana. Grab your strap. And if you have it looped, which you should have it looped, go ahead and unloop it. Just make it one long strap. We're gonna separate the feet and hold the strap and do the big circles that we do to kind of move the hips. So let's see, just start with your hands outside of the shoulders. Turn to the left. I'm sorry, Your left, my right. Turn to the right. And then keep the arms straight as you bring the strap up to the left, down, sweep it across to the right. So just big circles. Being sure you're turning to the right and the left each time. Do 3 in one direction. And then we'll turn it and do 3 in the other. Keeping the arms straight is the thing that's going to help you get the stretch for this one. And being slow and deliberate. Good. Bring the arms down when you're done. We're going to vinyasa down to our bellies. So once you throw the strap off to the side, you're going to inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back. Lower to chaturanga. Inhale, up. And then exhale all the way down to the floor. Use your left arm as a pillow. We're going to grab the right ankle or the right foot and bring the heel towards the buttocks. So if you can't grab your foot, you can use the strap. It takes a little lasso practice, but it can be done. That's only if you can't grab the foot. And close your eyes. Focus inward, notice where you're feeling the stretching. Press your hips into the mat. Bring your breath to the areas that are tight. And you might even be feeling a stretch into, under the kneecap here. It should not be painful. Take one more breath, and then we're going to exhale and switch sides. Right arm as a pillow, left hand grabs the left ankle. Knees should be hip width apart. They have a tendency to splay open if we're trying to grab the foot. Bring the left heel towards the buttocks. Press the hips into the mat and rest your head. If I rest my head, you guys can't hear me as clearly, so I'm lifting my head. Take one more breath and then release. And then we're going to push ourselves up. So hands to lower ribs. The only reason we're pushing ourselves up is because we're going to go into a bow pose. And I want you guys to grab your bolster to try that. If you don't have a bolster, you can use a blanket, or you don't have to use anything. This is just to try something different. So bolster will be horizontal on the mat. And then you want it to be low enough to, it'll be a resting spot for your pelvis or like the hip points. So even if you just try doing a, upper dog here, you can feel the support. My bolster is not that thick, but it's somewhat supporting me. So from here, we're gonna grab both feet. So rest on your left forearm to support you as you grab the right leg or the right ankle. And then grab the left. So if you feel like you can press your feet into your hands and go further here, you can. Otherwise, just be supported. Take 2 more breaths. And release. You can move the bolster out of the way. Lay on your left cheek arms are going to be along the sides of the body. We're going to do it one more time without the bolster. Go ahead and reach for the ankles. Try to keep the knees hip width apart. And on your next exhalation, press the feet into the hands and lift. Press the pubic bone into the mat. Doesn't matter how high you go, even if you're just holding your feet. Or lifting, bending your knees. Find your breath. Take one more breath. You can do it. Exhale, release. Lie in your right cheek. We're going to take 5 breaths here. Count them in your mind. Some cool things about doing an online studio is that in a regular studio, I wouldn't smell chicken cooking upstairs. But I do here in my basement. After your last exhale, bring your hands to your lower ribs, carefully push yourself up and sit back in a child's pose. Reach for the heels, give the arms a rest. And then go ahead and bring the hands back to the mat. We're gonna walk the hands to the right. So lifting the torso just a little bit and walking the hands off to the right as far as they can go. And softening towards the floor. Inhale, lift. Slowly walk the hands to the left. Your spine is getting manipulated in all different directions. So take your time to get to the other side and soften. Inhale, lift, come back to center. Good news, we're gonna use the strap one more time. So grab your strap. And then cross your ankles, lie down on your back. We're gonna use the strap for the bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do it, and then you're gonna go ahead and do it so you don't have to move your neck. All right, so the strap is gonna actually go in front of the ankles. Your heels are gonna be close to the sitting bones, and then you're gonna lift and grab the strap that way. Lift, lift, walk the shoulders together, and breathe, okay? Notice the difference in height you get. So go ahead and put your strap around the front of the feet. Grab a strap in each hand. Be sure that, in your mind's eye, you can see that the toes are pointing straight and the feet are hip width apart. And then go ahead and lift the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Just move slowly and then walk the shoulders towards each other. Maybe grab some slack on the strap. Press the feet, the heels, the inner edges of the feet. And in your peripheral view, watch the belly go up and down as you breathe. Maybe lifting a little bit higher. One more breath. Lower the pelvis. Release the shoulders, release the strap. Take a breath here to neutralize the spine. And then go ahead and bring the knees to the chest. Get the lower spine flat on the mat and then rock left to right. Slow your rock down, bring the feet back to the mat. We're gonna straighten the left leg. Bring the right knee up to the chest. You can bypass the ribs, keep the feet flexed. We're gonna do that internal rotation exercise that we've done in the past. So lift the left leg just a couple inches off the ground and then internally rotate the left leg. So toes are gonna be pointing in and hold it there. Lift from the outside of the leg. It shouldn't be easy, and that's okay. Breathe. If you lift it too high, it gets easy, so you want that in-between point. Take one more breath. And lower. Release the right leg. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Left knee up to the chest. At the same time, you're lengthening the right leg as long as you can. Shoulders are relaxed. And then go ahead and lift the right heel, couple inches off the floor, and then turn the toes in. Begin to lift a couple inches more from the outside of the leg and breathe. Release the tongue away from the roof of the mouth, soften the jaw. Lift with your leg, not your face. One more breath. And lower. Release the left leg. We're going to use the strap one more time. So go ahead and loop it back up. And if you don't have a regular strap loop thing, what you're going to do is put it around, tie your rope or your belt around your thighs just to keep the thighs together. Once you have your loop, put it around your legs, around your thighs, and tighten the strap. We do a lot of this type of tying the legs together in our restorative classes, so we don't have to use extra muscular movement or do any muscular holding. All right. So once you have everything all set up and the legs are nice and secure, you're going to bring the knees up towards the chest. Arms are going to extend out to the sides of the body. You're going to straighten the legs as much as you can. If you have tight hamstrings, they won't go straight all the way. Engage the lower belly in and up, and then bring the legs to the left. We're coming into just an abdominal twist here. Your right shoulder is going to lift. That's okay. If you need to bend the knees, if it's too much, go ahead and bend the knees. I'm kind of hitting my pillows here on the other side, so that's as far as my legs are going on this side. Find your breath. If your spine is okay with it, you can look over the right fingertips. We don't want to pinch any nerves in the right shoulder, so if you feel anything pinching, grab something nearby and put it under the shoulder. Two more breaths. Palms touching the floor so you can help support bringing the knees back. Back to center. Straighten the legs out again. Abdominal twist. So soften the tongue, soften the jaw, soften the throat. It's all connected to the gripping in the belly. Once you have everything in the torso soft. So obviously it takes abdominal muscles to bring the legs off to the side, but the air should be able to flow freely as you do that. Find your breath on the side. Support under the left shoulder if you need it. Two more breaths here. Palms facing down if they're not already. Begin to bend the knees. Bring the knees back to center. And then you can undo the strap here or bring the legs down first. Release the legs. Good. Take a long stretch. Circle the wrists and the ankles. And then get ready for your Shavasana. So put on some cozy clothes. Turn the lights off, cover yourself with a blanket. You guys are always such great sports. Thank you for entertaining me with my prop class and alignment. So fascinating. Once you're lying down and the ankles are separated, palms facing up, bring your awareness back to your breath. On your inhalations, feel the air coming in through the nostrils, feeling cool on the back of the throat.